Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This video is going to be about dislikes with the X5M. Alright guys, keep watching and I'll let you know my dislikes about this car. Guys, before we begin, if you're new here, just want you guys know that I do a lot of BMW X5 content, not even just X5, but more BMW content also. And if you are interested in cars in general, consider subscribing. But let's begin. The first thing, dislikes, and you may have heard me talk about this in my video with the X5 review, is the suspension. Okay, there are times where I just feel like it is very stiff. It helped a little bit with, I noticed when I went to the Michelin tires, but overall, there are a lot of times where I run this X5 in comfort mode because Sport and Sport Plus are just too much. Now, when I'm going to show off and, I just want to, do some cornering, I can appreciate those modes. And I do understand that this vehicle isn't, you're already getting the M. It's not meant to be luxurious and cushy. But I just, it is a family vehicle. I just think maybe they could give us an extra soft, just a little bit more of a softer mode, but while keeping those Sport Plus and Sport modes, because I can truly appreciate those. All right, number two, it's gotta be the fuel mileage. It's not, I'm not expecting like Prius level, but I came from a 50i, all right? So I knew what I was getting. I knew this is a similar engine. I felt like I was getting similar mile per gallon. However, I was disappointed when I noticed I'm like getting 16 mile per gallon regularly. And when I'm on the highway where my 50i would have been easily at 20 mile per gallon, I am at 19, like 60 miles an hour, 19 mile per gallon. Now guys, it's not the greatest, but like I said, this vehicle isn't meant to be that. But like I said, I was going into it thinking that it should be the same of it. As long as I get my foot out of the gas, I should be getting the same level of mile per gallon. Like I said, once I drive it anywhat, step on a little bit, my average right now is about 14, 15 mile per gallon. So just want to throw that out there. People who are considering this vehicle, or people who are considering stepping up from 50i, you are going to lose a little bit of mile per gallon. And I have tried to do road trip. I tried to be soft with it to see what it can do. And what I found was it's still not up there. And I want to contribute that to maybe the 50i has that Eco Pro mode where it can coast. I think that is really beneficial to that. I even tried running start stop with this to see with the engine turned off with the mile per gallon. It helped a little bit, but guys, the mile per gallon isn't quite there. It's not horrible, but you're not going to get 50i results. All right, number three is probably the transmission. Now, don't get me wrong, I love it. I think it is a fantastic transmission. I mean, it shifts super quick. It has all these different modes where you can program it to your needs, with the different modes. Well, I talked about that in my 5 likes with this video. So you haven't watched that video, be sure to watch. I put a card up here so you guys can watch that video, the 5 likes about the X5M. But the park mode is what gets me. Now, I get it. I totally get it that they're trying to mimic the behavior with the DCT, where when you're in, at a stoplight or you're just stopped, the car can go to neutral and it kind of rolls back a little bit, gives you that behavior like it's a manual transmission. And I know with the new ones, they probably put the park button there with the F95s, but I want to say it is, for example, Lexi asked, oh, can I take the X5? She wanted to go to, what's that place? Home Goods to pick up something. And I was on call and I forgot, oh, she's never driven this car before. So I'm like, hey, before you go, I want to give you a tutorial. I just want to let you know how the transmission works, to show you that, hey, it could roll back. Oh, by the way, it can do this. And she's kind of like, you know what? Never mind. I'll just we'll do it another day when you're with me. And I think to myself, oh, it's not that hard, but at the same time is I probably overwhelmed her. I probably make her think too much about it. And at the same time is if I were to valet this car, I would have to. I would think most people probably know, but you got to think about it. I've seen people sitting here when I test drove probably 3 or 4 of these X5Ms before I ended up considering one, before I bought one. And each time the dealer, when they pulled it up for me, they sat in it and they looked around like, wait, how do I put it in park? And I was sitting here like, oh boy. Very first one I drove was probably about 3 or 4 years ago. I didn't know how to put it in park. And I asked the dealer how you put this car in park, and he didn't know how to put it in park. And we just kind of sat there and looked at each other like, so when, we just sat there in neutral, and I think they turned off neutral and put the aim brake up. So I just want you guys to know that. And there are ways you can do it, right? There are simple ways you can do it. One is to turn it off while it's in drive, or you can turn it off while it's in reverse, and it will automatically shift to park. Next thing is you can turn off in neutral. Press the stop button twice and it will shift to neutral. Third way you can park in a park is to just leave it in drive. If you're on a flat surface, I wouldn't do this on a hill, but if you're on a flat surface, open the door, take a foot the brake, and with the seatbelt off, it would assume that you're going to get out of the car and it'll go to park. It's a safety feature, obviously, because they don't want people to jump out the car and the car's, in neutral. All right, number 4. Number 4 is going to be rear brakes. Now, I don't know why BMW is doing this. I notice as the cars get newer, these new manufacturers are cutting costs, but I like big brakes. I think when you have a performance car, and I think this started back when you had, think about the 90s era, right? The 300ZX Nissan, the Mitsubishi 3000 GT VR4, right? Those cars were performance oriented. They had at least a 4-piston set up in the front and at least a 2-piston in the rear. So you had a bigger, decent sized caliper in the rear. Now, when I had my 2010 Mercedes C63 AMG, I noticed that I had 6-piston in the front, 4-piston in the rear. All right. Now, my buddy ended up buying a 2015 C63 AMG S, and now this was a newer style. He had a 6-piston in the front, and then he had a single piston in the rear. I don't get it. So what I'm saying is, this is the X5M. You're getting the bigger brakes up front. I mean, bigger than the M Sport brakes. These are the 6-piston front brakes up front, which is nice. Nice big caliper, painted in blue. Looks nice behind the wheels. But when you go to the rear brake, it's a single piston. It looks puny. It looks like, what happened here? Did he not think the rear brakes are this important? And I'm sure those single pistons are probably adequate, but they don't look good. They don't look good. They look ugly. They don't look. Can you put an M logo? There's not an M logo on it. I want to say they're the same size as the 50. I'm not sure. I had to double check that, but they don't look good. And also, the other thing, they give up a lot of dust, excessive amount of dust. I'm working on another video with that because I think I'm gonna try the solution with different brake pads. So I'm gonna make a video once I find out a solution for that. But the brake dust is horrible. I get the squeaking when I get excessive brake dust. So guys, if you get excessive brake dust with your X5M, one thing you could do is help with that is when you wash your wheels, take the pressure washer, or if you don't have a pressure washer, go do a self-serve. When the brakes are cool, not when it's hot, scorching hot, take a pressure washer and kind of spray down the rotor. What you're having is a lot of buildup of dust, brake pad material, rotor material, and it's accumulating inside the holes, the slots, things like that. I don't know if these brakes aren't slotted, but they're cross drilled. But you're getting a lot of dust in that and place between the pads. So you want to just pressure wash that out, and that helps the dust temporarily. But I just want to see a bigger brake caliper in the rear. I don't care, even just a 2-piston. Like my F80 has, I think 4-piston in the front and then 2-piston in the rear, and it still looks nice. It still looks nice. All right, number 5, it has to be the rear seat. I've noticed when people who ridden in my 50i, they have noticed, and I had the comfort rear seat option. Okay, you cannot get the comfort rear seat option with the F85. If you don't know what the comfort rear seat option is, you basically get more recline. You have the adjustable to recline. The seat back can slide back and forth. I think in addition you can get up to 3 inches more legroom total, and you have 6 inches of more play to use. But I think when you have everything all the way back, you get more legroom, and the seat back can recline. So on those long road trips, if you have people in the car, the X5M has a fixed position. Now, I didn't think that was anything to even worry about. And I noticed when we did that first trip with it, Lex sat back in the back seat, and that was one of the first things she mentioned. She said, "How do I recline the seat?" And I said, there isn't a recline. And the first thought was, and then I thought, okay, it'll be fine. But I noticed, if you're used to just kind of recline back a little bit, just have that extra couple inches back would help. I don't know why they didn't do it this way. Again, I understand this is a performance vehicle, but I think it'd be nice to just nice to have. I think every one of my SUVs have had that feature. I had an Affinity FX35, had that feature. Audi Q7 had that feature, and my 50i had that feature. All right, number 6. I know I did 5, but I just want to talk about these things. There isn't a... Now, BMW have done this, right? They've done this... Oh boy, lawnmowers. They've done this since the E60 M5, E46 M3. They've had some type of moving tachometer. And what I mean is, when the tachometer, when the engine's cold, it rev limits you to a certain RPM, and it gives you a kind of either a LED slider. What it does is it keeps the tach. It lets you know, hey, when it's okay to hammer down. So when the engine warms up, everything's okay. The red line slowly shifts from like 5,000 RPM and until your designated red line. So for this case of the X5, it is 7,000 RPM. I think on my F80 M3, it is 7,500. Obviously on the older ones, when you talk about the E60, I think they go to 8,000 RPM. Yeah, there's no moving tachometer, and I felt like, this is an exclusive. This is an M performance. This is M vehicle. Now they've done this with the E70. So the E70 has had a moving tachometer. I remember test driving one of those too. They had an E70 that had a moving tachometer when the engine was cold, and it increased it as the engine revved up. This one just stays fixed. I just think that would have been a nice touch to have. I don't know. That's something that I was like, oh, okay. All right, I'm gonna throw this last one in here. This is not exclusive to the F85. This is just a BMW thing. But the hot sun coming through the windshield, I feel like I'm an ant under a magnifying glass sometimes when I'm driving in the hot sun. It's horrible. That's just something that I'm really considering getting my windshield tinted just because of that reason. I'm not saying like I want it dark, but I need some UV protection because I am roasting. My F80 has even more of a worse problem than that. So I don't know. I think it's a BMW thing. I think the windshields they don't have enough UV protection in front. I'm super hot, and I would rather have a little bit more, reduction. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video so far, be sure to give me a like. Right, that helps me. That really does. And I truly appreciate all the comments. Leave me a comment if you have any questions. Leave me a comment if you want me to cover a different topic or something. I'll do the best I can. I do have a full-time job, so I'm trying to squeeze this in between jobs. But I appreciate everything. I appreciate people having me positive feedback and even some suggestions. I take those in consideration as well. Obviously, don't be mean to me because that's not nice. But I appreciate everything. But if you like it, be sure to give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you like the content. If you like car content in general, I think you might enjoy this. I think you'll enjoy this channel because I do acceleration tests. I do different things like that, even occasional drag racing. So, guys, give me a thumbs up if you like. And I have some more things coming up here that you guys are gonna like. So, stay tuned.